Justices on the High Court were originally up against a deadline of 11:59 last night to make their decision, but instead pushed the cutoff until tonight at the same time. I'm live now with Shannon Olivieri Hovis, director of NARAL Port Choice, California. Welcome to Fox 40 News at 11.
Thank you for having me.
First, there was so much focus on that midnight deadline with so many waiting for an answer about what is now a 23-year-old FDA approval of the abortion medication mifepristone. And then yesterday it was announced that a decision will be delayed. Can you kind of characterize what kind of feelings another day of waiting has sort of injected into what is already, for those you advocate for, an emotional and anxiety-filled time?
Absolutely. And the deadline's actually been pushed back to tomorrow night at midnight. So we're awaiting the Supreme Court as far as what they will do here. I want to be super clear with folks that medication abortion remains accessible all across this country, including in California, while this case continues to work its way through the courts. But of course, the intention here is to create chaos and confusion, to sow this kind of anxiety among people about whether they can access abortion care in their state, even in states like California. And that's what the intention was here, was to create this confusion and then ultimately to try to put medication abortion out of reach entirely, even in states like ours.
What is your take on what the delay might mean for the outcome? Do you think the justices are really fighting it out? Do you have a good feeling about what might happen?
Well, we're talking about the 6-3 anti-choice Supreme Court that we are now relying on in this ruling. And so I think really putting any stock into that is something we should be careful about doing. We know that anti-choice extremists specifically went to this judge in Texas with the intention of having him as an anti-choice, Trump-appointed judge really essentially create this backdoor nationwide abortion ban. Anti-choice extremists know that they can't win in the court of public opinion. They know that 8 in 10 Americans support the legal right to abortion, and they know that they can't pass a nationwide abortion ban. And so they're trying to do this really malicious, but also like surreptitious thing of going backdoor, getting this judge in Texas, judge shopping him, and having him create a nationwide framework, putting medication abortion out of reach. And so I will say, as we wait for the Supreme Court to come down, and like I said, currently mifepristone remains available all across this country, but we need to understand what they're trying to do here. And that is to put medication abortion out of reach everywhere, even in states like California with constitutional protections for the right to access abortion care.
Governor Gavin Newsom here in California, one of the leaders in several states that have publicly announced they are stockpiling abortion medications given the uncertainty of what may happen. Do you have a vision of what will happen to those stockpiles if the denial of that FDA approval stands?
I think the most important thing to remember for all Californians and for anybody who may need to access care here is that California will remain a reproductive freedom state. Medication abortion will remain available here, even if mifepristone is put out of reach for a period of time. So a little bit of background on medication abortion, right? Medication abortion is 2 drugs that are used. It's mifepristone and misoprostol. And while the ideal combination is a regimen that has both medications, misoprostol can actually be used on its own safely to also administer a medication abortion. That's the reason that Governor Newsom was and is stockpiling misoprostol here in this state, so that even if for a period of time mifepristone is out of reach, even here and cannot be used, misoprostol will remain available. Medication abortion will remain available. Again, it's part of what being a reproductive freedom state is really about.
NARAL Port Choice America is one of the organizations in California's Future of Abortion Council. A council started before the reversal of Roe last summer as a way to prepare for how the landscape of reproductive health care might change if a ruling in that case came down, as it eventually did. What would you say are the most important things that you think the council has been able to accomplish over this time?
I'm so proud of the work that we've done. So NARAL sits on the steering committee for the Future of Abortion Council, and we created this council in anticipation of the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. So we actually created it in September of 2021. And last year we passed the boldest, most comprehensive, historic bill package protecting and expanding access to abortion care in the country here in California. And that included provider protections, patient protections, ensuring that patients have privacy here, ensuring that we're doing everything possible to guarantee that our provider network can continue to provide care and can do so safely, regardless of what hostile states are doing and the bans that they may be putting into place. And this year we've come back because the reality is that we're seeing, the consequences of Roe v. Wade being overturned. We're seeing the consequences of that every day. And so we're reacting to that in real time. And this year we have a 17-bill legislative package out of the Future of Abortion Council that similarly comes back and looks at additional provider protections we need to put in place, additional privacy protections we need to put in place for patients. And also we're looking at some of these expansions that the governor is talking about as it relates to mifepristone, protecting pharmacists who are dispensing mifepristone and doing those kinds of things.
Alrighty, thank you so much for your insight as everybody waits for this decision from the Supreme Court. Shannon, we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.